I'm Tulio Sirgusa, broadcasting from Southern California. I'm joined today by two co-hosts, Kim Lantis from Hermosillo, Mexico, in our offices there. Hi, Kim.
Hi,
Welcome back.
Tulio. Thank you.
And Mariel Navarro from our Chihuahua offices in Mexico. Welcome
Hey,
to the
Mariel.
show, guys.
Hey.
Today we have a guest across the pond, Stan Rymkiewicz. I hope I got that right. With Orapa, who's tuning in from Warsaw, Poland. Welcome, Stan. It's good to have you here with us today. And we're going to be talking about sales. We're going to talk about outbound sales and outreach and closing deals and filling your calendar with opportunities. But before we go into that, let's get to know Stan a little bit. Stan, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Thanks so much for having me here. So basically, a couple of things that people don't know about me is that I was a professional athlete for almost my whole life, which is not long because I'm only 22. But I was training in the national snowboard team and national sailing team in the beginnings of my life, and I even had plans and I even started executing the plan to go to the Olympics in snowboard. That I've unfortunately sort of stopped for me, and I decided to go to the business. But I decided to go to the business basically because I needed a way to make money. I just wanted to make money, and being in sort of 1 week off and 1 week on the training on the mountains, it was impossible for me to get a 9-to-5 gig. It was basically impossible for me to get a job. So I had to figure out a way to make some additional money on the side, and this is how I sort of fell in love in building companies and just building stuff online. And I've been doing this for a few times, and I think it's working pretty well for me now.
Great. Well, sounds like the need is the mother of all invention, right? So good for you. Let's talk about Orapa. Tell us a little bit about Orapa.
Yeah, so Orapa is a pay-per-meeting marketplace where sales reps schedule sales calls and companies pay only for qualified meetings. So you can think of it as Upwork for sales talent, where you only pay for results. So basically, companies post gigs, sales reps then apply to those gigs, and then if it's a fit, sales reps go out, schedule sales calls, and startups or digital agencies mostly just pay for those qualified meetings.
Nice. Okay. So let's go right into the topic of conversation today, because you promised that there's a way to get your calendar filled with sales call, and we're all interested in learning about that. So, Kim, will you introduce the show today?
Sure. Thank you, Tulio, and thank you for being here, Stan. So yeah, outbound sales, outreach, and closing deals. How to fill your calendar with sales calls with key decision makers on demand. And so that's what Orapa is all about. Now, Stan, you had mentioned you had done this a couple times. So I have two questions for you. What number of business is Orapa for you? And tell us about the name Orapa. What does that mean?
So I think it's like my 7th or maybe 8th company that I've started, and there was a couple semi-successful companies. One being a lead generation agency. So this is basically where I have learned doing sales, and I think I am semi good at it. And of course, the next one is Orapa. And Orapa was the initial name for my lead generation agency. And I picked this name because I'm quite interested in diamonds. And Orapa is one of the largest diamond mines somewhere in Africa. And I thought to myself, hey, I'm just here getting the diamonds for my clients, or so-called diamonds, like AKA dream clients. So why not pick this name? Let's go with it. So I didn't want to think about twice about picking the name. So I just went with it.
Very good. I love that. Yes. like the Aladdin, it makes me think of the Aladdin cartoon, right? The diamond in the rough. I love it. So what's your secret? What's the process that you're following here at Orapa? And how are you making and helping your people become those key decision makers and on demand, of course? And I think this works out nicely because what I'm understanding is you're helping fill in this niche for those smaller companies who might not have the funding to have their own sales teams, and then allowing it to actually be accessible in the sense that it's only on demand or for those actual qualified leads. So please tell us more a bit about that process and who your clientele is.
So Orapa is a marketplace, right? So there are two sides of the marketplace. First one is startups or digital agencies mostly, or software development companies that just need more revenue, or basically any company that just needs more revenue. And on the second side, there are sales reps. So most of our sales reps are from US. They work in sales in 9-to-5 jobs, and sort of after hours, part-time, they help out cool companies get more meetings. So my process that I've been using since I was running my own agency and also helping startups was to be different in any way possible. So if you're doing email outreach, try to be extremely attention grabbing. So one of the best ways to do it, here is a practical tip for you all, is to be extremely short. One of the best emails that I've been sending, cold emails, is basically one line of text and then my name. So think about it. If you were to receive a short email that requires a very short answer, it's way easier for people to just respond and start the conversation, because once you start the conversation, you can start building a relationship. Once you start building a relationship, it's way easier to open another door.
So I'm curious, how did you come up with that? Is that something where the technology you've built allowed you to learn through variations or various permutations that one sentence with a name would be more effective? How did you get to that?
So I am not good at writing. So any form of me not writing a long email is a good idea. Because I can spend less time on doing so and spend more time on what actually matters, which is closing the deals and getting the revenue to the company, so it can live. So it was, of course, a process of testing different things and then figure out, okay, short and sweet emails are perfect. And even to this day, when I send out emails and once people agree to jump on a call with me or take the next step in the funnel, I've been hearing a lot, hey man, those emails that you sent me, I usually don't respond, but yours was short and sweet, so I did it. And it's just funny to see that basically every lead that comes through cold email or cold outreach is just extremely, they're just saying that, hey, you got my attention.
Right, and it fits. You can easily see most people nowadays, at least the decision makers, aren't even at their desks, right? They're doing business from this. And so if you've got this long email that you've got to scroll through, next. But if it's just one or two lines, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good strategy. I mean, keeping it short, I bet that gets people's attention. Stan, so basically, Orapa is a sales team on demand. So you're helping your customers save money and time on recruiting, onboarding, and training skilled sales representatives. So besides savings, what would you say is one of the most strong reasons for hiring external sales reps?
So we not only help out companies that need more revenue, but we also help out those sales reps with basically we're enabling them to start a side hustle with the skills that they already have, which is self-development, and maybe potentially explore new opportunities, explore new markets, explore new segments where they feel comfortable, and also add some positions to the resume. So it's a win-win for both sides, for companies that need more revenue and for sales reps to grow their careers and get some additional income. So this is the way I think about this.
So skills, that's something that it's like the added value from Orapa. You offer skilled sales representatives that otherwise will take probably a lot of money for companies to hire themselves. That's a pretty good thing.
So except for, of course, except for training except for savings, there's also training. We train the reps. They're also trained from their day jobs. So this is off the table for the company. It's also speed, right? Because it usually takes about 60 days to ramp up the sales rep to the full capability. It usually takes some time. I've been hearing answers even up to 3 months to find the right candidate. So it's just speed. This is also that we really strong at.
So I have a question, because I know a lot of companies, when they look for this kind of service, it's because there's an immediate need to enhance the sales funnel or add additional opportunities to the sales funnel for whatever reason. There was a downturn and lost a client, or a pandemic happened and all of a sudden people had excess capacity and found themselves, well, we're not ready for this. Let's go hire an external agency to help us. And there's always this tendency for a lot of these agencies to say, we're going to get you leads right away in a week. You're going to, your funnel will be full of opportunities. And then a month goes by and 2 months goes by, and they end up canceling these agreements. But here I hear you saying it could take 2 to 3 months. How do you go about helping companies balance the fact that this isn't a quick hit type of situation, that there's still an investment of time that comes into play? How do you handle that in helping organizations get past that, that perception that they think that just a lead gen agency is going to immediately have leads for you next week? How do you work through that?
So I'm pretty upfront with everyone that we work with, that it's not like next week you'll get results. It usually takes some time, of course. And having sales reps that are experienced in the niche that the client is in is extremely valuable, because that helps them get started much quickly. But that's not always the case, and it just takes time. And I also think that Orapa is a great addition if you want to accelerate your sales, but it shouldn't be the only way that you're getting leads. You should definitely explore other option, if it's inbound or just your efforts on outbound or just referrals or networking or whatever it is for you. Basically, every lead generation service should be an addition and an accelerator to pipeline growth, rather than the one channel that gets results.
Right. And so are there specific vertical or industries where you have more success than others, and why?
So right now we work only with sort of in tech. So which it's basically, startups, SaaS, B2B SaaS, marketing agencies, digital agencies, software houses or software development companies. And we do this, we only picked in those sort of markets just because it's way easier for sales reps to change the industries. It's still selling something along the line of technology. So it's way easier for sales reps to understand its benefits and values to the end customer. So in terms of who our clients are and who they sell to, it's pretty wide open. We don't sort of make limitations on that. It's just the way that the reps are working. It should be in the lines of something along the lines of technology.
And is there any piece of technology you're using to facilitate what you do? Or are you leveraging any kind of machine learning or automation tools? What's working to support the volume of emails, et cetera, that you have to put out with some of these clients?
So I am a sort of a scrappy founder.
We want to know the secret sauce. What's the secret sauce?
Okay, so here is the secret sauce: hustle. Because we started pretty much bootstrapped. We're still bootstrapped. We may raise, but that's not up yet. I just started by doing all that stuff myself, and then I get some first customers. I followed my rules, which is always try to get customers. Cold email. If you want to get the first customers, cold email them, close them, pre-sell them the product, pre-sell them the platform, make them sort of pay at heavily discounted price for the whole year, so they will work with you on that product, and then potentially, try to explore other verticals and growth channels. So there is no piece of technology as of right now, since we only been up, since we launched the marketplace launched 3 months ago or so. And in that time, we basically grew from 0 to 40K in ARR, that's annual recurring revenue, and over 200 sales reps on the platform. So that's fast. And right now we only starting exploring how do we really expand on the platform? How do we make sure that the work also that sales reps are doing are done on the platform? So right now, the sales reps are picking their perfect weapon to execute the outreach. Sometimes they like phones, cold emails, LinkedIn, whatever works best for them, because we only care about results. So it's really up to them how they should do it. So of course there is a ton of opportunity on just getting the data on what works in many different industries. Since we as a platform or as a marketplace will be doing a lot of outbound, we can really capitalize on also on the data, and make the learning curve from new startups and new companies entering this exact market way quicker, because we already know what works.
Okay, so for organizations that are, let's say, a startup that wants to build this in-house, what you're saying is you're going to get the sort of leapfrog advantage because you've been there, done that a few times. So the time cycle to learn what works, you're bringing in that experience from having done it with many companies before. What's the typical pushback you get from organizations that are not as active in outbound sales, and how do you overcome that?
That's a great question. So I think the pushback that we get is in terms of sales calls, right? Because this is the area that I can speak of, and that the meetings won't be qualified, or the person sitting on the other side of a screen won't have an idea on why they are there. And it's a funny objection, because if you think about it, no one is going to come to the meeting, to the Zoom call, with no clue why they are invited from a stranger. It's not going to happen. No one really likes to waste time. So if our reps are able to present the value of the company, and the prospect agrees to come on board or come to the meeting, that's already a good sign that they're interested. Or sometimes the sales rep are sort of misleading the value because they didn't understand the value of the product or service that the company is offering on the marketplace. But that's, I think, sort of the fault of, or responsibility of the company to explain to the sales reps on why prospects should meet with them.
I have a question going back to the, well, you mentioned before that whenever a rep is scheduling calls for a customer, customers only pay for successful meetings, successful calls. That really takes my attention. You probably get this a lot, but what are the standards to define that a meeting or a call was successful? Like, are these standards defined in the beginning of the relationship? Between the sales rep and the customer, or this is done based on the customer perception of the meeting?
So this is done before the start of the relationship. So the way I sort of think about qualified meetings and the way I explain everyone on the platform how it should work is basically qualified meetings means a meeting with a person that fits the customer profile. So they have this sort of, if you think about your last, let's say 10 sales calls or 10 last deals that you have closed, you can pick, basically you can say, okay, all of them are about 100 employees or from 100 to 250 employees. All of the people that I have signed a deal or I have started the conversation about this product that I'm trying to sell is a CEO or it's a CTO or someone from HR, right? Then all of those customers that I have closed, they are some sort of a hiring need, or I can say that they are hiring for an assistant, or they are hiring for salespeople, or they are doing something that helps me understand that, okay, this is a great buying signals. Okay, this is a great company because they are sort of in the range that I'm trying to target. And okay, this is a great person because they are basically the person that will sign the deal. So qualified meeting is a meeting with the company that potentially on paper should be interested. It's not like they are interested and ready to sign the deal because, well, that's sort of very, very hard to do, or I should say nearly impossible, because it would be too easy.
Definitely. I think, I'm sorry, Kim, go on.
Okay, yes, I was going to ask something. So you mentioned, your reps qualifying for the clients, the ideal client profile. How are you as a company at Orapa qualifying your reps? And what is perhaps this training process or the secret sauce that you're sharing with them to help them be successful in what they're doing, especially if it's this pay on demand or pay per meeting business model of yours, right? The more meetings they're setting up, the better it's going to be for you. It's better it's going to be for them as the reps. So what part of that training process, or how are you choosing these people who represent Orapa to represent other companies?
So the onboarding process for sales rep is this, that I basically take all the onboarding calls. So I speak with everyone, I get to know them, I get to learn about their goals and needs and interests of what they like to sell, where they are in life and where they like to go. And then we sort of work out a plan for them to really take advantage of the platform. So the secret sauce is I always I ask the one exercise that is always works best for them and to get them higher returns is try to exclude as many words as you can. Try to shorten your email, so you basically would have to pay for every word and every dot that is in the email, and try what happens. It's a sort of weird feeling that when you try this critical thinking and try to explain what the value of your product or your service is in as plain English with as little words as possible, magic things happen because people. It's not business to business; it's people to people, and we should write like we speak. And that's the one key idea.
Do you find that the short and sweet suggestion, as far as written language is concerned, like emailing, is also the solution for spoken communication? So once those reps are on the phone call, is it still short and sweet's the rule?
So I would say so that, yeah, but I don't have I don't have a lot of experience in that area. I've been always a cold email guy, and I prefer it over the phone. So I don't really know. My answer is you should test it, and
Yeah.
not just trust the guy with clear glasses.
Well, it sounds as though what always works is when the message is about the person you're sending it to, less about you showing off how much you know. So,
Yeah.
someone always said big ideas are are always simple. So, short and sweet means you're easy to do business with as well. So that's great advice to take in. I think a lot of companies struggle because you try to pack in how much can I convey to convince them to want to talk with me, and sometimes you just have to invoke their curiosity to get them to talk with you, and that's all you have to do. Stan, we're coming up on time. It's been great to hear from you and get your perspective on this segment of sale, this part of sale, which is the outbound email campaigning. You said you've built a few businesses. You're a young guy. What have you learned about yourself in the process of pushing the envelope and trying to connect and build a business at such a young age? What have you learned about yourself?
That I can do even more. It's really about if so, and also I've learned that if I am able to hustle, great things will come to me, and I really think that I can do sort of anything that I'm set to do it, and it sounds sort of cliche, but I really think it. I really think that if I focus on one task at a time, and I will do it enough of the times, and it will do well for me. Just repetition, discipline, and grit.
I really appreciate your comment about the hustle and the discipline, because there's a lot of people who, visualize, fantasize about achieving certain things, but don't put in the block and tackle hard work, which is what you're doing. The hustling, the having the discipline, the having the process, the being in action to realizing what needs to be done. So kudos to you. What a fine example for not only young people everywhere, but anyone in the business world. You want to make things happen. Nothing replaces good old hard work. Stan, it's been a pleasure to have you with us. Stay with us as we wrap up. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being with me today, Kim and Marielle. We have one more show tomorrow. I think we're waiting for the topic. It'll come out. Just tune in at 1 p.m. Pacific. And then, of course, looking forward to Monday's recap show at 1 p.m. Pacific, where we take the highlights of all the shows and cover them in 10 minutes. Stay with us, Stan. For everyone, thanks for being with us, and be safe.
Thank you.
Thanks.